Hello, good evening. Welcome to the JACKOCAR Cup Series. It is Season 10, Round 16. We'd normally be on the penultimate round of the season by this point, but since we've got our extended calendar for Season 10, this is the first round of the round of 8. We are continuing the North American leg. We're going to be here in Miami, where we are tonight for Round 16, and we'll also be continuing around the rest of America in coming weeks. But yes, here we are. We've got a full grid. We've got an exciting race, hopefully, up ahead. I'm your commentator Omar. With me, as always, I do have Mr. JACKOCAR himself. It is Jack Ricketts. Good evening.
Good evening, Owen. Hello, everybody. And what better way to have a JACKOCAR round of 8 than by making every single race in it an American one? It's Miami first, then Austin, and then Las Vegas. Exciting times ahead, I dare say. Miami, of course, Season 6 Championship 5 race where we had that mental last lap shootout for the championship. Ben Shaw, Kieran Spears, Corey Dalton all going for it. It was Kieran Spears who came out on top in race 100. But attention must turn to Season 10 and the first man out on track this evening, which is Michel Goris. By the way, Owen, first time this season we've had all 20 full-time drivers on the grid.
It's remarkable it's taken this long, really, but yes, thank goodness we've gotten there. Obviously, we've been breaking records for the amount of drivers we've had this season. It's a game that people don't particularly enjoy, as we've already gone over many times, but yes, thank goodness we're finally getting towards the sharp end, and all of the full-timers are showing up, and Michel nearly losing it on his way out of the pits here. So, last week we were in Canada, where we did see our first two drivers eliminated. For those who don't know how the playoffs work, we have a round of 10, a round of 8, and a round of 6. That's basically so we can cut down our 10 playoff drivers to 4. So obviously last week we lost the first two drivers, them being Leroy Hasselager and Jordan Lynn, simply because they didn't have enough points. It's as simple as that. And after Las Vegas, we'll eliminate 2 more. So essentially, all you really need to know is that out of all our drivers, Jordan and Leroy are the only 2 now, so far, who can mathematically no longer win the title. We also have the chase going on, as always, where the bottom 10 drivers in the championship are vying in their own mini-championship to finish first and become the 5th driver for a Championship 5 at the minute. Shot car, Ben Shaw is leading that, but we'll complain about him later, I'm sure, because we've got Michel heading down the long back straight and preparing to start his qualifying lap. So it's been a while since I've actually done a proper run through of this track. I swear the last time I properly did one was when I was sat in Leeds with you lot for the Season 6 Championship 5 series. So let's see if I can let's see if I can do a better run here as Michel comes up to the line to start his qualifying lap. Turns 1, 2, 3 are all quite sort of snaky corners, difficult to get on the throttle here, and you don't want to be too much on the curbs, you could end up losing the car. Drag the car wide on the exit of 3, and it's heading on towards 4, which is a bit of a send. You really shouldn't be going down 1 gear at most here, and this section sort of just gets slower and slower and slower all the way through to turns 7 and 8, which is a blind apex, and for someone who's been running no line recently, it is quite difficult to truly get a feel for that corner, but luckily most drivers here don't do that because it's better for their health, really. DRS down towards turn 11, probably going to see most overtakes here, and into the tight twisty section, which I don't think many people are a fan of, to be honest. 12, 13, 14, 15 all just get slower and slower and slower. Track limits can be difficult here, and some people will hit the wall either on the entry or the exit, as Michel nearly did on the exit. Long back straight, second DRS zone, and that'll take us down towards 17, which is the last braking zone. And you can see, look how much ERS Michel's already used. He's pretty much out already. I'll be interested to see how many other drivers sort of run out by this point, because it means you'll have pretty much nothing as you come through the last 2 corners. And you can see he's just about to run out, but he was already pretty low. His deployment was fine, but the fact that he had nothing left in the tank probably made him a little bit slower. But still, it's a benchmark. For once, it's a not too bad time, 1:27.1. So, yeah, that's Michel Goris.
Thank you, Owen. I'm glad you seem to think so, because it's been so long since I've done anything at Miami, I've forgotten what a good lap is. as Michael Okeke, tonight's Joker, gets it all wrong. But he still manages to go purple, of course, I believe. That is very much a game glitch. Still in the game after many, many years of being here. Whilst we've got a minute, tonight's stages come at lap 6 and lap 11. Not favourable for this man, Mr. Okeke. But maybe if a medium-hard strategy is the way to go, he can make it work. He has been so fast lately, especially in the Kia series. And we keep saying it, how good would it be to see Okeke back on form in the Cup Series? It's been a long old time since he won in Italy, back in Season 2, would you believe? But he's now on the back straight with the DRS Open. A little bit more ERS at this point compared to Michel Goris a minute or so ago. And it leaves him with just the 2 corners. This is one of the main overtaking points of the night. And Okeke gets round there. Foot to the floor now. And deployment is gone. But over the line he goes. Well, 1:29.8. But if you remember, he did muck that up earlier in the lap.
He did. He pretty much had a nightmare lap all the way around there. So, yeah, he'll be hoping for pretty much everything to go better for the race. He'll be starting near the back, I would assume, with that one. It depends on invalidations, but yes, he'll have a mountain to climb with the Joker. As Quinn comes around the final corner, he's probably one of the drivers who had their best performances on the Joker this season. He finished on the podium in Belgium. Sort of been a bit anonymous apart from that, but he's gone P2 for now as Quinn. And we'll see how that time sticks. I would imagine Michel's time will probably stay top for a little bit. It was a relatively decent lap. And it's not going to be beaten by Baza because he's invalidated.
Yeah, classic Michel. Not here for the first part of the season and turns it on when it matters. And that's why we've been rewarding drivers with -5 playoff points for not turning up. It is a very good deterrent. But we go from one Welshman to another. Jamie Griffiths running that HRT livery that I'm in agreement with you, Owen. It is very, very white, very black and very red like the HRT was. But what can Jamie do? Race number 111 for him tonight. 2 Cup Series wins, just like Michael Okeke, who he's just passed in the section under the freeway here. I believe it's I-95 that the Hard Rock Stadium finds itself next to on the east coast of Florida. But coming down into the braking zone, Jamie Griffiths. What can he do in the chase? He sits below 500 points still. It's going to be a mountain to climb, especially to beat the likes of Ben Shaw and Sullivan Lewis, but he brings it round this final corner, and over the line he goes, a 27.6. He's knocking on the door of Michel, but he's not quite there.
On to Mike Kelterborn. He's having... well, I don't know if you could call it his worst... No, I will. I'm going to call this his worst season in the Cup Series. It just never seems to be going right. He binned it last week in the torrential rain in Canada because he'd lost his front wing, and then he decided to take the wall of Champion Chicane on intos when it was a full wet track, no front wing. Believe it or not, he hit the wall. And he was actually, I think, the only driver to DNF from what was by far the wettest race possibly in JACKOCAR's history. If you didn't watch it, just have a wee look. There was a few good helicopter shots in there which just made the place look like a swimming pool. It was unbelievable. But Mike, he's looking just for that one big performance because Canada's normally where that would happen. But he's going to do it somewhere else as he crosses the line to go P3 here.
Yep. Next is the second Dutchman of the night. It is Jori Hazelaga, of course. Last week tipped himself over 800 career points, which is quite the achievement when you actually have the stats in front of you. It leaves him 11th all time. Only a one-time race winner in the Cup Series, but the leading man in the Kia Series with 16 wins and 2 championships. Many people, including the likes of Gareth Hall, said he was there for too long. He dominated for ages. But he's invalidated here and had a nightmare. So we'll move on, shall we?
Yes.
To Peter Knighton,
who might well end up doing the same thing there as Juri did, getting it all wrong through the chicane. And interestingly, Michael Okeke is apologising to Jamie Griffiths for having a spin on the way in, so perhaps that inconvenienced the man in second place on his lap. But what a nightmare last week ended up being for Pete. He was on for a podium. He got the safety car right when he needed it, when Jake and Risky put themselves into the wall. But on the way into the pits, Pete sped. He was leading, he came out in P2, but he had to come in and do a drive-through, which then didn't even work because the game went and changed his tyres on him, so he ended up finishing right at the back. I think the penalty did get removed, but it didn't make a difference. It would have been a big result for him, and instead he ended up, sadly, in his usual position at the back of the grid. So maybe it'll have spurred him on. Hopefully it will have spurred him on to give a few more performances to completely run out of ERS. I did mention this might happen to a few drivers, so it was not going to be a great run to the line. But he still goes P3, and we'll move on to, man, I was just talking about Sullivan Lewis, who's invalidated as well.
Validated, yeah. How about we move on again?
Let's do that then.
Keep that
yes.
one nice and quick. Ben Shaw next. But as you say, good to see Pete Knighton back in the picture. He can still do it. Trust us.
It needs a lot of trust.
He does need a lot of trust, but he can do it. And on stream, I even said the one thing he's got to not do here, Owen, is speed into the pit lane. That's exactly what he did. And you are correct. The 20 seconds was removed, so he went from P16 to P12. But as you say, from a possible podium. Anyway, Season 8 champion Ben Shaw. He's back here in Miami, where he lost the title on the final lap in Season 6 in those awful conditions. He dominated the race, so he certainly knows how to get it done around here. And of course, coming into the chase again, like he did in Season 8 as chase leader. Of course, when he did it in Season 8, he went on to win the title. What can he do here tonight? This is the first, let's say, real challenger to Michel's time I expect that we will get. Where will the man from Liverpool go? Over the line it is, and it's a 1:27.0. That's exactly what he's done. Challenged Michel and gone above him. That puts us into the playoff drivers, but first of all, the ones that have been knocked out.
Yes, and Leroy getting a terrific tow here from Sullivan Lewis, which would have been really useful any other week apart from this. But he's just racing for pride now, is the Dutchman. As he comes round, like I say, he was eliminated last week, needed to finish in the top 5. He got nowhere near it, unfortunately, in the conditions. And he's gone P3 here. So, yeah, he's racing for fun, but if he can get some good results in the last ever season, of course, he'll be looking to leave on a high, at least.
Leroy, of course, with his Kia Series title that he won around here, again, on the final lap. The Season 6 and Season 4, which was Cup and Kia at the same season, believe it or not. It was probably one of the better ones, wasn't it? We had
yeah, myself and Gareth in the commentary box for that one, where his brother got the puncture on the final lap, didn't he? And it was unbelievable scenes.
It's a race as well where everyone said, "Oh, why did you pit at the end, Jacko?" So if I didn't pit, nobody would have noticed that I needed to make a pit stop. Jordan goes fastest, so it meant I would have been a champion, and I wouldn't have told anybody either. But never mind, it was Yori's in the end.
That went fastest, by the way, by a long way. Half a second over Ben Shaw. That is some lap from Jordan. I wonder if that's going to stay at the top for a while. Gareth Hall, well, he's here. Has his child actually been born yet? I never actually heard about it.
Nope.
So that's
on the way.
Yeah, that's even more stress for him tonight, because I think, one, obviously he'd love to meet his child, wouldn't he? But I'm sure he would have loved it all to be out of the way by this week. So again, that means he could be out of here at any moment, because that would mean baby overdue. So yes, he currently sits in P7, only 8 points away from Nick Egan. So he needs some big performances to Scarf to put himself into the round of 6. He's got 3 rounds to make those points. He was P5 with that lap, quite a way off the pace, it has to be said. I think he'll be a bit disappointed, and I imagine he'll probably get shuffled down the field by Mr. Nick Egan himself, who we just mentioned.
Yeah, the important thing for Gareth is he is here. He did expect this would be a -5 for him, but he has made it as far as qualifying, so he is immune from that, which means he now has a 2-week gap in which his baby can be born without any punishment from JACKOCAR. And Nick Egan, who has the most ERS at this point of anybody who I've seen so far, who I have tipped to be tonight's race winner. And the logic behind that, there is none. I've just said it out of the blue. What can he do then? Over the line goes Nick, P2, front row with Jordan Lane.
This lap time from Jordan is really looking good, I have to say, as we follow Ben Harrett, who's currently bottom of the remaining playoff drivers. 21 points off the cut line. It's not exactly a must-win, but it would help. It would get him straight through, and then he'd have a chance in the super speedway in the round of 6, where, of course, he's won 2 times, including earlier on this season. So I think...
3 times.
Or three,
Kia
well,
Series as
Kia
well,
Series
yeah.
as well, of course. He won twice in the Cup Series, and it's got him to the Championship 5 on the first try. He'd love to do and repeat the trick this season, but like I say, it's a big ask to get through the round of 8. So this will be possibly the 3 best races you'll have to see from Ben Harrett. And let's see if he can start tonight with a decent quality time as he goes P5 ahead of Leroy, just behind Michel, who, let's say, he's had a difficult season, Michel, but that P4, he's still staying there. So it's good stuff from him as we move on to the Fast 5, including Corey Dalton, who's hitting a milestone tonight.
Yeah, took the words out of my mouth. It's the Fast 5 and Corey Dalton's 100th career start. I believe this is number 99 in Cup. He had the 1 start in the Kia Series. Then we were like, no more, you're too fast. Tonight, he says, don't expect much. He is on the pad just to avoid the -5 points, a bit like Gareth, although his excuse would be a little bit different. And Corey, as I mentioned earlier on, he was there with Ben Shaw and Kieran at the end in Season 6 for the title, and it didn't quite happen in the rain for him. Can it happen tonight? A place in the round of 6 awaits, but he goes P3, leaving us with 4 to go. And firstly, it's Casper Klein, who also has a milestone from last week.
I need you to explain the milestone. I know you put a tweet on it because we weren't going to mention it. He's had a massive slide, so this might not be the best lap in the world, so let's up his spirits.
Yeah, so the milestone for Casper, last week he hit 1,000 career points, only the 5th driver to do that in the Cup Series. And he's actually on 1,002. And also last week it was his 100th Cup Series start.
Well,
so that's what I've got for you.
Start 101 looks like it's going to be a difficult one then, because that was a huge slide as he came through the chicane. It's still a quick time though. It's gone fastest for now, but surely that won't stand. That'll have to be beaten by one of the remaining 3 drivers. First of which, currently purple, well, it always says purple, doesn't it? Is Catboy Kieran, who, well, he was expecting to be good in Canada last week, wasn't he? But it didn't quite pan out the way he wanted to, did it? But well, never really does when he bigs himself up. Let's see though, he won his title here in Season 6. It looks quick, it's gone to the top. And I should probably mention it, those fireworks will continue. Just warning you. Happy Halloween, by the way.
I totally forgot about that. JACKOCAR on Halloween night. It's a scary thought for many people, especially with the picture that was posted into chat earlier. Picture of me. You did see it, didn't you?
Yeah.
We can't share it for obvious reasons. Here's Arnaud. What have we got to say about Arnaud? 1 pole this season, 4 fastest laps, 6 stage wins, more than anybody else, apart from Casper, who has 9. And 2 race wins for the man from Belgium, residing out of Germany, Cologne. Can he get anywhere near Kieran's time? We didn't think Jordan's would be beaten, but it has been. Will Arnaud be the 3rd man to beat Jordan tonight? No.
Oh,
yes.
wow. Look how close this is.
So close.
This reminds you of Belgium back in the early days when we'd always have the top 5 within this sort of a gap. It's so rare to see it happen these days, but now it's the lap which every week we come to and we always expect it to go fastest. It hasn't though in recent weeks. He's had 2 7th places in 2 of the last 3 quali sessions as Jake O'Sullivan, but look at the toe he's going to tick here. That's not Casper in front of him, is it?
That is.
That's bizarre. Is he going to stay on the racing line? Because I tell you what, there'll be a penalty incoming for that.
Whoa.
I have a feeling that might have been a bit far there from Casper. Has it put Jake off? He'll have had superb straight line speed, but did he get it slowed down okay? Was he put off? Here's the time. It's only P5. The top 5 within 0.086. Unbelievably close. But it's Kieran, the Season 6 champion. He won that title here. He's on pole once again. But I'll tell you right now, Jake will be absolutely furious with it's not strictly blocking, but if you've got a car in front of you there, it's going to put you off. I know there was controversy with Kieran last week, but he was nowhere in Brazil, but he was nowhere near as close as that. That was a bit dodgy, I think. And there'll certainly be questions asked. But it's Kieran on pole, top 5 so close. That is a fantastic racing prospect.
That is the unfortunate thing. Well, not unfortunate, depends who you are. That we didn't bring in a rule after Kieran doing it, and we probably should have, because Casper will go unpenalised for that. There's nothing in the rule book against it other than gentlemanly sportsmanship. And A little bit of gamesmanship starting to appear in the later stages of JACKOCAR's Season 10. And as much as I'm all for it, these drivers are going to fall out before too long. We are getting to that time of the season where it all starts to collide. Owen Wyatt, run us down.
So Kieran then on pole from Casper, Arnaud, Jordan. I said his lap was good. Jake in 5th, Nick 6th, Corey 7th, Ben Shaw in 8th, Michel Goris 9th. Again, good for him considering the season he's had. Ben Harrett in 10th, and then Leroy, Gareth, Jamie, Pete, Mike Kelterborn, and Quinn. Michael O'Keke, our Joker driver. He had a shocking lap, but hopefully he'll be able to get up the field throughout his Joker strategy. Then Yuri, Risky, and Baza, they all managed to invalidate their lap times. And we'll start from the back.
Casper saying that was the wrong red car that he picked up. I'm not sure if I believe that, considering that after Casper's lap, all you had was Kieran and Arnaud. But is Arnaud in a red car? It's sort of more black and yellow.
It's
and red.
reddish. I mean, it's not been red for the last few weeks, has it? Which he's been sort of. He won in purple last week, so he's gone back to the home colours. But yeah, the thing is, maybe Jake won't have an issue with it. I suppose if it was me, I'm sat here with no line. If Jake maybe is using line, it's fine. But for me as a no line driver, I'd be looking at that thinking, I now sort of don't know what to do. And you'd brake too early, you'd get it a bit wrong. But hey, look, maybe it's helped Jake. Maybe he's getting him a 10 for 2. It didn't put him ahead of Casper. That would have been a massive own goal had it done so. But yeah. It's the type of tactics you might see a bit more. I mean, especially in Vegas with the epically long straight at the end of the lap. So yeah, it's a tactic maybe to look out for. But yeah, we need to go through the archives. But I can't remember top 5s as close as that in JACKOCAR. I say apart from the first few seasons when it always seemed to be Belgium, despite it being the longest track. It happened in the ILR days as well. It was so tight. And it was always, a tenth separate in the top 5. And, yeah, it's nice to see the competitiveness. I remember we looked at the first couple of rounds this season. I know it was with reserves, but it always seemed to look a bit more spread out and slightly concerning. But it's definitely tightening right up. And let's say it's a shame Jordan's out of the title because we've said about his pace this season, and he's showing it really well today.
Yeah. I mean, out of that top 5, who's the one that could really do with a win? They're all very much together. Obviously Jordan eliminated. It's Kieran who is the one who needs to benefit. But I think we've got a bit of a race on our hands here. And also Corey, by the way, P7 had, there's another firework for you. Yep. That top 8, very, very exciting.
I'm very much looking forward to it. Like I say, it's a shame Ben is so low with his time because we know he's quick run here as well. So perhaps look out for him. He's struggled, I think, in the last few weeks with pace. It's no secret that he doesn't particularly like the way this game drives. But of course, he leads the chase, and his nearest rival is Risky, isn't he? And he's down in 19th. Fury the closest to that, but miles behind. 28 points behind. It's only basically it's Ben Shaw and Risky Lewis. They're 6 points apart. That's all. They're the only two going for this. So, he can survive in 8th place, but I think he'd like to just secure this as soon as he possibly can. But yeah, do you know what, Nick? I mean, you've given him your prediction. He currently sits in 6th place. He is on that sort of danger zone. He would love to get through. Kieran, he's obviously on the edge of the championship 4, but he's still got a decent. He's got 20. How many points has he got? He's got 28 points. Over
29 now.
Oh, 29, yeah, of course, with the pulse. So, out of that top 5, I suppose, Jordan Hill want to win for his own pride. The rest, not as much. And Nick, I could see him wanting to really go for it. Because when he won in Brazil, you could see it was just that bit of weight lifted off. Because it wasn't the best few races after that, was it? But he had the win, and it sort of sees you through. I'm really excited to see what Ben Harrett does. Like I say, I think next 3 weeks, he is going to have to drive out of his skin. Because he must know. I say next 3 weeks, obviously we've got breaks coming up, but next 3 races, he's driving out of his skin because he knows he can and realistically might well win in the Super Speedway, and that would give him a ticket to the Championship 5, and it'll be the second time that's happened. So, I'm hoping he'll be as aggressive as I'm expecting, which is very.
Yep. Well, certainly Gareth Hall's not a fan of Ben Harrett, obviously because they're on-track antics recently, and also we've just seen in chat that Ben Harrett apparently has some slight internet issues. He sits right in front of Gareth when we start. They are 10th and 12th, respectively. But it's all going to unfold. Owen Wyatt, 20 full-timers. It's Halloween, it's prime time, it's JACKOCAR, it's the Cup Series. Stages come at you at lap 6 and lap 11. It's Miami, Florida. And it's the beginning of the round of 8. What more could we possibly want? I am going to hand over to you, and I'm just going to enjoy the start like everybody else.
So we've got 10 drivers on softs, we've got 8 drivers on mediums, we've got 2 drivers on hards. So all 3 tires being represented. Not at all a surprise to see that OKK is one of those drivers on the hards. Interesting that Risky is as well. He's going to go long, hope for some safety cars. The 2 stages come very early tonight, so I'll be fascinated to see what the strategy is going to do. As usual, we've always got some drivers taking a bit longer to park up. Pete Nyan, the last one to get on the grid here. It's a very short run down towards turn 1 tonight, and I'd be looking out for that second row with those softs. But boogity, 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 let's go racing here in Miami. It's a decent start from both the guys in the front row. I'd be very surprised that anyone does anything silly. Running out Psycho's Arnold on those softs. He's up into second place already, and he can get himself after Kieran. There's a off there for Corey. I don't think he's hit anything, but he's going to fall to the back of the grid. He's already down in 18th, 19th, almost 20th place. He is there now. So poor start for the man on pad tonight. Now, up at the front, Arnold, he holds on to the back of Kieran. Jake on those softs as well. He's one going to get after Casper as soon as he can. He has a big slide out of the corner. That's surely going to be Jake through. We know how aggressive he is, especially against the ERT drivers. It's a full-on war between this lot. But look at Arnold. This is going to be for the race lead. Surely he's going to get through. He wanted to go on the inside. Kieran covered it off. Running outside. Is he going to try a switchback, Arnold? Yes, he is. He's done a very good job as well, side by side as they head towards the stadium section. This is for the lead of the race, and they're going to make almost contact. Brilliant racing, and through into the lead goes Arnold. And up into third went Jake O'Sullivan as well. He got through on Casper, and he's making use of those softs. So it's Arnold from Kieran, and look at the toe being broken already. This is aggressive stuff. You'd think it's the last lap of the race rather than lap 1. DRS will be nailed on the next lap, so look out for more of this. Look at Casper. He fancies this, doesn't he, on the inside of Jake? He's going to go for it. And off and nearly into the wall goes Arnold. He just survives, but he loses the lead once again. Jake stays ahead of Casper as well. But this is still going on towards turn 1. And Arnold fancies coming back at Kieran. What a race we've got already. Down the inside into turn 1. Very late on the brakes. And Arnold gets through. Little bit of contact again. But Jake's going to be right on the back of this now as well. Everyone's derating. They've all emptied their ERS already. This is unbelievable stuff. Look at the toe that Kieran's got. And Jake. This is going to be a mental DRS zone, Jacko.
I was hoping you were going to keep on talking because that was an amazing opening lap, probably one of our best ever. I was actually going to say everybody managed to file through the first turn of the first lap sensibly without any contact, but and then from there on out it was just absolute chaos. Fantastic racing at the front, fantastic racing at the back. Really looking forward to this. And by the way, Nick Egan managed to get through.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
No progress in 8th.
It's 4 of them going for it into the DRS zone, and it's going to be Jake trying to go for second place. We're 3 wide on the way into the stadium. That's never going to work. Surely someone's going to back out, and in that case, it'll have to be, it's going to be Kieran who gets blocked out. Unbelievable, he's down to 4th already. Arnold had another huge slide in the lead of the race. He's really struggling with those rears and the softs here. I don't know how long they last, but if he's going to be driving like that, it won't be for very long. The 2 stages are laps 6 and 11, so we will see early stops. It might not be the worst thing in the world to, burn your tyres out as soon as you can. Get all the grip you can, because here comes another driver on the softs. It's Nick Egan, who goes wide, almost hits the wall. So I think Kieran's going to get back through. Michel Gorries, he's had a good start. He's up into P6. He's ahead of Ben Shaw. Jordan's fallen down a little bit as well. These 2 are on medium, so perhaps their pace will come through a bit later on. But this is just going to be lap after lap, because the 2 stages, because they come so soon, these guys are going to have to sort of fight their way to the front, because do not take these playoff points for granted. Yes, the final result's important, but like you see in real NASCAR, winning a stage is vitally important. There has been an accident at turn 1, and it involves Corey and Baza, I think. Corey, who'd got himself back up to 17th place after spinning at the start. He's back at the rear of the field once more, but here's the DRS for Jake. Again, like I say, it's an ERT driver he wants to get past. It's very much in his interest to disadvantage him as much as possible. And here he comes in towards the braking zone. Is he going to fancy the move? Is he going to be patient? He doesn't want to go for the move at the wrong place. And as much of a good place as it is to pass at turn 11, if you get it wrong, we saw it happen to Kieran a lap ago. He all gets shuffled down the field. And Arnold, I'm trying to look at his run.
Sorry to interrupt, Owen. Ben Shaw's finally making moves. He's gone up 3 places in the last sector alone, side by side with Jordan, Michelle and Nick. And he's finally got it done. Now he's just got to try and bridge that gap to Kieran. Other than the 4 at the back, it's very much a 16-car train for the lead, but they are starting to gap Ben Shaw, as I say.
I was looking at Arnold's exit through the stadium section. It was a lot better this time around. That's what was causing him issues before. And he's been able to hold the lead. But Kieran, getting the advantage of the toe when the DRS has now got the fastest lap, so he's going to start getting himself into this bit of side-by-side further back, as you were saying, in the sort of second train. And Michelle with a big slide, getting pushed around the corner there by who was that? Jordan. Almost a chance here for Casper. He got very close, didn't he? And look at it, side by side for the S section in the midfield. It's very difficult to make these moves happen, as Casper does make the move happen, and that's on Jake O'Sullivan, and that's a very surprising move. I'd be interested to see how Jake responds. And I'm not trying to say he's overly aggressive, but it's what you expect from him when he's against the ERT. So they'll always go for it. But today, it looks like ERT seem to have the upper hand so far. It's very early to say. Meanwhile, Michelle's falling down, and he's going to have a bit of contact here with Leroy Hasselager, who has Gareth and Ben Harrer. How typical is it that those two find themselves together? And it's going to be Leroy that squeezes himself through up into 8th place. Back at the front, DRS once more. This has to be the most hectic first few laps we've seen all season, possibly ever, in the Cup Series. I mean, Austria was pretty much this, but just a little bit toned down, and we thought that was pretty impressive then. But here comes Casper down the inside, and he's going to take the lead off his teammate. A little bit of contact from Arnold on the exit as Casper derates. He's pretty much emptied his battery, and we've got 2 laps here before the end of stage 1, and there's nothing to say that this fighting's going to stop anytime soon. I don't think they can afford to stop it anytime soon.
No, they can't. It's I wonder if ERT are going to play their games that they usually do and help each other retain the lead, but with the likes of Jake Kieran and Ben Shaw all behind them, they can't. It's such a close field this evening. And Corey with another penalty, by the way. The fighting continues. It's absolutely fantastic, Owen. All the way down, like I say, to 16th is fighting like this. Even if there's no overtakes, there's lots going on. Virtual safety car is out.
No, I'm trying to work out what that could be for. I'm not seeing anyone with damage. Jamie Griffiths, he's lost his whole front wing. That'll be a full safety car, Jacko, and it is. So what that means is that Casper's... he's going to win the first... Well, is he? That's the thing. Do you want to win the stage, or do you want to take your first pit stop? The guys on soft, they'll take the pit stop. But with the 2 stages being, let's say, lap 6 and lap 11, thanks to this safety car, you could very easily say that these guys can pit for another set of softs. And this has been a strategy we've not been able to see all season. You know, the format hasn't allowed for it. But this does give these 2 guys a chance to stick some new softs on and full send it to lap 11. All 20 cars are still in this race, which is nice to see. Obviously, with Jamie hitting the wall, he'll just get to pit. He'll take his mandatory. That will be no problem. But let's see. I think Casper, he's on those mediums. He's going to have to commit to this, and
he does this, doesn't he?
That's the thing he always does, doesn't he? He takes the, we'll call it bold strategy calls, because it could work. Jordan's going to do the same thing, but the rest of them are pitting. Arnold's put mediums on, which is interesting. I suppose you can do 2 medium stints towards the end, and the tyres will last plenty. A lot of doing that, and in fact there's even some going on to hard, so no one's going to do the soft, medium or hard strategy. It's going to be soft, hard or medium, and then a short stint at the end. So there's a potential opportunity for people to do something interesting there, but I suppose being sensible is more useful to them than blowing the race early for a playoff point. Michael Okeke is up into P5, which is also known as net second place, because the top 3 are yet to pit, and we lose Corey from this race, retiring in the pits. He's picked up 2 10-second penalties. He's struggling on the pad. He's had enough.
So the Corey retirement is good news for Nick, Gareth, and Ben Harrett. They are respectively 10, 18, and 31 points behind. So they will all gain providing they finish. And of course, Corey's not picked up any playoff points tonight. So the three of them need to make inroads to make Corey's life difficult for the next 2 races. But of course, there is a 2-week break. Someone's going on holiday again. And then we come back for Austin and Miami. Exciting times, Owen. I'm enjoying
Hello,
this.
Kieran's in the wall here. He's had a spin at the very tight chicane down at 14-15. He might not have actually hit the wall, but he has spun, and that's going to drop him out of the race for the lead, or the net lead, for now. He may get back into later on with more safety cars, but that is a mistake for the man who currently sits on the fringe of falling outside the top 4. So he needs a comeback drive.
Protected somewhat by the Corey DNF, isn't he, with that?
Yeah.
But don't rule him out from making his way back up the field. Safety cars, his sheer pace here, he's far from out and a long way to go. And of course, don't forget, world champion on this track 2 years ago.
Casper wins the first stage as we were expecting him to. And he'll hopefully take the restart at the end of this lap, and that will give us a 4-lap shootout to win at the second stage. From then, it'll all be about strategy and who can hold their nerve, because it looks to me like, thanks to the lack of dirty air on this game, this track is really lending itself to some good racing, and so we're going to see more of the hectic action that we saw at the start of the race, which is always good news for the viewers. I don't know how the drivers really feel about it. I had a tiny taste of it in Qatar when I was fighting with Jake, and the back and forth there, it was a bit stressful, and obviously he wasn't particularly pleased with my driving because I was comfortably slower than him, but I was able to hold on because of DRS, because there was a huge DRS on the main straight. It didn't seem to clock with him. I was making a second a lap on that straight alone, and obviously I'd lose that second when he had the DRS, and the tow all the way around the track as well. But that's just the nature of fight on this game. Thanks to the lack of dirty air, you can just sort of sit behind. You will be quicker than the guy in front, basically the whole lap, which means it's very hard to pull away.
I genuinely believe that might be our best ever opening lap. That was so enjoyable to watch.
It was so difficult
like
to judge.
A couple of corners. It was all the way around.
It was so difficult to judge, and all the drivers got through. Like I say, obviously Corey had his issues, but it was very impressive driving. And like I said, there will be that element of season 10, I mean, there's rumblings of further seasons, but as far as these guys know, this might well be their last chance to win a championship. And you can sort of tell, because they want to take every opportunity they possibly can for this and the next 5 races, as the safety car pulls in, and that will allow Casper to take us to the restart zone. If I'm him, I'm trying to take it as far as I can, maybe go halfway through the final corner. Don't go right at the start-finish line, because you can get jumped then, can't you? But will he feel good having Jordan behind him? Obviously, Jordan was quick in qualifying, but maybe he won't be as quick in the race. And he's a teammate, of course.
As well, yeah.
But let's see.
JACKOCAR.
Your friends are where you find them. Let's see if Casper has any. Let's see how the rest of the field get on as well. And maybe for the final corner, as I suspected, Casper's away and he's half a second clear, so that's why I wanted him to do the restart there, because it just catches them out enough. And look at that down the inside. It's risky on Jordan. They're going to go for it through turns 2 and 3, and all over the curb there was risky and a big slide, which nearly caused an accident for Arnaud. And OKK's had contact with Jake, who's got through, and Ben Scholl gets through as well. And that was Michael Okeke trying to move on Arnaud, backing off and losing out. He's going to lose out to another few drivers because he's gone off through turn 8, and that's a shame for him. But he's got to compose himself, get back underway. Mike Kelterborn, Jamie Griffiths, his front wing gone as well in the mid-pack. Hard to tell who it is. There's 3 guys at the back who've had issues. It's Michael Okeke's front wing. So that's disaster for him. But look at this. We've got Arnaud getting through on his teammate. This is an important move, and he's got it done. Can Jordan hold up Jake O'Sullivan at all? He's going to go side by side through turn 12. Difficult to do, bit of contact, but Jake's going to force his way through. Nicely done, up into 4th place. Now I look at Ben Shaw, he fancies getting involved in this as well. That safety car closed the gap, didn't it, that he'd sort of started to build while he was building his way up through the pack. Now he can stick in DRS and become part of the leading battle. But Casper at the front looks like he's going to be good for this stage point. We'll see, though, because here comes Arnold. Bit of a slide as well for the last corner from Casper. That'll lose him a 10 for 2. Can Arnold catch up as Leroy Hasselaiger puts it into the wall? That could well be a safety car. It is.
And it is.
And that's going to... Well, it won't win. Well, is that going to win Casper the stage? I mean, I suppose you'll say out, but I think the restart... Yeah, the restart's going to be lap 12, isn't it? End of lap 11, so perhaps Casper will get the stage point for that.
But at that point, Casper is then unprotected by the fact that there's not a stage coming. Normally the stages are a lot later in the race, and also we're running out of safety cars, so he's in a position where he doesn't need the point. I know every point matters, but he doesn't need the stage. If I was him, I would be pitting.
Safety car's letting people through here, by the way, even though it was deployed in front of Casper, but a bit like Miami in real life, actually, this year. The safety car, these guys have all got ahead of it, and they all actually get another lap before they catch it, and that's what won Norris the race, wasn't it? So, it gives obviously he's under Delta Casper, but it does give him a chance to pit, but he'll still fall to the back of the train anyway, won't we? It was just built up on a restart, so that point's a bit null, actually, and void, but we'll see what they do. I wonder if KK, well, he's on the hards, isn't he? I mean, he's lost both sides of his front wing, both end plates. It's not like the actual structure's all still there, but a nightmare restart there. He was ambitious on R9, but then backed off and got swallowed up, and it happens a lot in JACKOCAR, and it's just a shame it's happened to KK on this occasion on his Joker. But let's see. Frankly, I'm expecting Casper to stay out at this point, just take the point, and he's going to. Yeah. Obviously, the rest are going to as well. Risky sticks with it. Jordan will pit. That makes a bit more sense because he's already fallen back. And OKK looks like he's going to pit as well. I mean, can you take a set of mediums to the end from here? I've no idea. But we'll see if he can manage it. Speeding for the pit lane, Mike Kelterborn. Speeding under safety car, sorry. So that's a drive-through penalty. What tyres are these guys putting? It's hards for Jordan. Softs for Michael Okeke, so that's the end of his Joker. He will obviously not be able to get that to the end of the race. He's going to go aggressive. Same for Ben Howard. He's gone aggressive on some softs as well. And just checking where Leroy is. Leroy obviously got to pit because he crashed at the last corner. So looks like that's all the pit stops over. Wouldn't it be great if the safety car came in this lap? I mean, Leroy obviously was on lap 8 when it came out, so I mean technically it would be out for 3 laps, but I don't think the game's going to do that. The leader was on lap 9, so I think we are going to see this safety car continue through lap 11, which is a shame because it means that it runs to the end of the stage. But it then means that the rest of the race is, well, it's a standard really 1 stop, isn't it, from the end? But, well, for some of them, Casper will be a 2 stop still, as it will be for Risky. The rest will have 1 stop to go, and pretty much all of them have already taken their mandatory safety car stops, so there'll have to be green flag stops, which could cause issues later on. Casper at least could make 1 safety car stop towards the end, and that could be vital for him. So there's ways he can get himself back into this, but it does feel a little bit like with these safety cars he is going to shuffle to the back. Kieran is up to 12th now. It's just worth keeping an eye on him because obviously he fell behind earlier on. He's still sort of 5-6 cars away from the back of the train, but he's not a million miles away, so we'll see how he gets on the restart again, like I say. And as you've mentioned, he has won a title here before. He knows what he's doing, so he does have pace. It's just whether he can use it or not.
You'd like to think Kieran would certainly move up through the field. Casper definitely going to fall down. We do only have the 2 safety cars remaining. Of course, one was upgraded from BSC, so maybe
look at this.
Going to have to rely on that.
Is this going to be the hard tires being put back on for Michael Okeke, I wonder? I mean, it could work. Maybe mediums. Maybe mediums is more sensible. I think he's going to put his hards. Oh, he's got a new set of hards. Okay. That means he chose the harder option in qualifying, doesn't it? And that's clever, that.
Makes a lot of sense.
Sorry, I was just expecting... Yeah, I was just expecting him to put on his old hard, because most people would pick softer for qualifying, which gives you 4 sets of softs, or regular, which gives you 3 sets of softs and a medium, then you get the 1 set of hards to the race. But Michael O'Keefe's thought about this. He's picked harder for qualifying, and it gives him a new set of hards, which he can take to the end of the race, no problem, and he will catch the back of the pack. He is the first driver to finish his pit stop strategy.
Yep, safety car free race from here.
Of course, he won't get the Joker bonus, it has to be said, because he has made 2 stops, but he's still taking advantage of the Joker by finishing his pit strategy here.
Because nobody can pit until lap 12 for their second mandatory.
So he will effectively...
Race, a bit of pace. He's race leader, as it stands.
He will
P19.
Stay accident-free, he'll lead the race. Might not win it, but he should... a Joker's not just about winning, but it could score you a top 10. It could score you a top 5. Oh! Yeah. Casper's hit the wall! What a clumsy mistake to make there. He was weaving and he just drove clean into the wall. It wasn't as offensive as Arnold flat out losing it. That was just Casper excessively weaving on the exit of turn 16, and he drove clean into the wall. So while he is going to win stage 2, he will win stage 2. But as you say, he can't pit, and he's going to have a very tricky lap to get back in. I'm sure Risky will be keeping an eye on it. If he can get himself in front of Casper, that'll be fantastic for him. So this might be a slightly difficult restart now for the race leader, who has a damaged front wing. The second time we've seen that in 3 weeks. Unbelievable. And at least we caught that one on stream this time. And up to the line comes Casper. I think he's going to go with that white line, isn't he? Yeah, he's away. Bit of a wheel spin, but what's it going to be like as he gets himself into turn 1? Is the car going to turn in? Look at that for Risky down the inside of Arnold. That's a bold move, but he doesn't quite make it stick. Got to give him respect for trying, though, on the older hard compound tyres. It sadly hasn't quite worked out for him. He now has Jake O'Sullivan all over the back of him. Is he going to fancy to move into turn 4? No, he backs out. But Risky, ambitious in the restart. That race win a couple of weeks ago, it's really fired him up. And obviously, in this position at the moment, if he can make this strategy work, he could gain some crucial points on Ben Shaw, but this is for the race lead now, and surely Arnold has to take it, but Risky will surely follow through. Risky's going to take the lead of the race here. Look at the run he's got. He's burning all of his ERS here in an attempt to lead this on track for now. He's going to have to go round outside of Arnold if he wants it, and he does. Look at that. He's not going to make the corner, but again, you've got to respect the commitment. But he does lose out to a couple of drivers, including Ben Shaw, his direct rival in the chase, who's up into 4th place now. Jamie Griffiths, for the second time in his race, is in trouble, but there's no damage on his car this time. So it's Arnold who leads from Casper. Jake O'Sullivan will, they'll all have seen his front wing surely come off for Casper, so it's a vital move, and he knows it, because he'll lose so much time, will Jake O'Sullivan. And look at that, Casper's used up all his ERS to defend. Running outside, Jake goes. That's a risky move, because you know Casper's going to go for the pit lane. And he's had to let Jake through. He could have made that a lot more difficult. Maybe he just didn't have the grip to do it. But Casper's into the pits. He has 2 stage points, but he's going to lose a lot of time in this pit stop phase. He's going to fall right to the back. Michael O'Keefe, he's just kept himself to himself at the back. And we'll see how that works out for him. Oh, it's contact here between Nick and between Michel Goris, who loses out. And that was a bit punchy there, as we said. Risky and Gareth are all coming through on that too. And that's in the fight for 4th place on the road. But that was all over the road and off the road at turns 1, 2 and 3. And Michel going to lose more ground here as he falls behind Pete Knighton, who's up into 7th place now. And that's that'll upgrade further to P6. So a better race this time, hopefully, for Pete. Let's well, I've said it now. But what about Risky? Can he make the move on Nick? Run outside into turn 11. That's way too late on the brakes this time for Nick. And, Risky knows a little bit about that. As Gareth, he's coming around the outside. And, a bit of contact. But an aggressive move for Gareth. This is for net P4 in this race. And look at the contact wheel to wheel through 15 and 16. Fantastic, but surely Pete Knighton's going to fancy some of this. Oh, he does. He's going to come through. Even before DRS, he's ahead of Nick Egan. But can he get himself out to Gareth Hall? Speed teammates, maybe they don't want to cause each other problems, but look at Michel Goris. He fancies this as well on Nick, who moves out to try and defend. Down inside of 2 cars at once, because Michel has contact with all of them. No damage, but they'll keep going, and Michel, big slide. Risky's into the pits.
Oh, you're in the wall!
Yuri out of the race. That'll be a safety car again. Didn't go virtual, so there'll still be another chance for a VSC later on, or a full safety car, so that's not the last safety car.
Like Kelterborn can pit here, Owen. He could take advantage of this with an early stop. Or if they all got the safety car stop in hand. That's what we don't know.
I think the only person...
could pit if he wanted to.
Casper hasn't pitted. I was looking at him, but Risky was in the pits before that safety car came out, so he still has a safety car stop he can take advantage of. He's one of the only ones who can. I actually think it's only Risky and Casper who can take this safety car stop from this point on. Luckily, they both still have it in hand. But that is Yuri Hasselager out of the race. And I've got to say, this is looking unbelievably good for these guys in team speed. Ben Shaw, Gareth Hall, and Pete Nine. That's legit. They're legit positions. They've worked their way up the field. And for Gareth Hall, if they can do a little bit of teamwork here, this is the exact sort of result he's looking for to give himself a leg up in this playoff campaign.
Be a little bit of JACKOCAR magic coming true once again for Gareth. But don't forget, Mexico doesn't come at us in the Cup Series until the round of 6. The nemesis of Gareth Hall, Mexico City. So the round of 8, he's maybe expecting to make it through. And don't forget, he has his Joker next time out in Austin. So alternate strategy for Mr. Hall. And a good result here in Miami. Baby on the way, don't forget.
I know, what a bad time it'd be for us to be now, though.
As well. Oh, no, not now. It's a bit like...
Risky. That's a very clumsy mistake. In fairness, he's 16th anyway. But... I don't think you can take this under the safety car, can you? So, I mean, you won't take much advantage out of it. Pete Knighton is into the pits. Right. Should we get JACKOCAR out? Because if this is a legit pit stop, this is worth paying attention to. I can't say I can remember him. I just assumed they all made safety car stops, but that's very much a pit stop to get to the end of this race, isn't it? So, Pete Knighton has pitted... and we'll have to correct ourselves if we're wrong, but this actually could be his last stop of the day. I was under the impression he'd made a safety car stop along with the rest. Lap 4? Okay.
So, I will rewind VAR to lap 4.
I wonder if he got through on a virtual or something, but, well, do you know what? I don't think he cares, as Baza gets a 10-second penalty for exceeding the white line. Very good then. So, thank goodness we pointed that out then for ourselves. Pete Knighton, that is a pit stop to get to the end of this race. Very exciting stuff indeed. And you know, I don't know if he has any fresh sets of medians, but with the way this is, if the safety car would have last one more lap, he actually could pit again if he really wanted to. Casper has also made his safety car stop, but he's only going for soft, so he'll have to pit again in this race. So is that a waste, or does that just give him more flexibility later on? He was last anyway. But that is
a safety car, isn't he?
Potentially, yes, because it'll be a short shift on these softs. It'll get 5-6 good laps out of them.
It still leaves us with OKK as net race leader.
It does indeed.
This point, P12. How this game works, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's
watching for the first time. They have no idea why the man in P12 is net P1. Such as the way the system is. We're not going to explain it. If you haven't been here for the last 5 years, you're just going to have to stay and watch. But it's turning out to be a classic. It's a brilliant watch. I'm letting you lead the way, Owen. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so with this, Pete, let's say he only finds himself 4 cars behind Michael O'Keke, which I think he'll feel relatively confident about. It all comes down to whether he'll have the pace at the end. As into the pits comes Baza. He has that 10-second penalty to take, and he'll take it now. Risky, like I said, the only other outstanding penalty in this race is a drive-through penalty he got for speeding under this safety car. So he'll have to take that penalty when we go back green. I suppose there was nothing stopping him just taking his second stop now, and... Well, he's already taken it, hadn't he? Sorry, he already took it at the start of the safety car, so... Enjoy the fireworks, just enjoy those. But, yeah, I think Risky, actually, his pit stop strategy is done, so he actually could also get to the end of the race in these tires. So another safety car for him would put him back into play, too. So, just to get it clear in my head, the drivers who have finished their pit strategies, and I'm going to mention Casper as well. So it's OKK, it's Risky, it's Pete, and it's Casper, because Casper has just been back in to put mediums on, and they will get to the end as well.
Yep.
And that puts him very much back in play.
So all our concern earlier is out the window.
It's what I said Pete might do. So except it's just Casper did it instead. So I was on the right thinking. But that surely is a big advantage for him now, isn't it?
Yep, both of them will know that as well about each other, and they are two of the league's hotheads, aren't they? So perhaps more fireworks. Fireworks in your microphone and fireworks on track is what we will be expecting when it is Pete versus Casper once we get going again under green. I was just going to tell everybody, Owen, 7 weeks to the day, and we will crown our Season 10 champion in Abu Dhabi under the lights.
We're on a streak of consecutive different winners, aren't we? How many races into this are we now? Or am I getting that wrong?
Oh, no, race winners. We're on a streak of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tony, Casper, Kieran, Nick, Sullivan, Arnold.
There's definitely there's scope to make that a longer list tonight, isn't there? It seems all over the place in various ways. But here comes Arnold to conduct his first restart of the night, and he's had a good one. And he's gained half a second on Jake O'Sullivan, who'll be fired up here to fight the sole ERT driver at the front of the race. Side by side further back, we were talking about Kieran earlier on and his comeback to the field. He's just passing Ben Harrett now to get himself up into 7th place. So that comeback is very much making good progress here. Side by side further back for Quinn and for Leroy, and they're going to continue sending it all the way through the first sector. Like I say, they're very brave to do it through here. Looking on board with Michael Okeke, he's staying very calm, isn't he? Casper is already in front of Pete. He's now also in front of... Oh, Pete's into the wall. His front wing's been damaged. So we'll not worry about Pete then for the rest of this race. Casper is coming through the field and he doesn't have to worry about Pete now. Mind you, he may not see the damage, but he'll notice the lack of pace. As fighting away through the stadium section, here comes Nick and Michel. More contact between these two today. They've had each other off multiple times, and that's again into the wall. And that was Nick losing the rear end. He tried to use Michel's car to stop, but it just spat him out into the left-hand side of the wall instead. And it's broken. Your pick for the race winner, Jacko. He's broken his front wing. And that lets Kieran through another position.
Yeah, I never picked him. Yeah, Nick with front wing damage as well, but the resurgence from Catboy.
Well, he's made the move actually.
He's been fantastic, and he is going to get Nick here, as we see Pitters, and Jake O'Sullivan leads his first lap of the evening. Nick stays out and still looks fast. That's good for him.
Yes,
Garrett
and
P2, if you haven't noticed.
He is indeed. I was about to say he'll probably try and start to lead that lap, because I would have thought Jake will pit, and oh my goodness, Michel. That's a huge slide, and now contact behind for Kieran and for Nick. But all these guys are going to catch up to Michel very quickly, because that slide cost a good second or two. Impressive not to put that into the wall, it has to be said. And for Ben Harrett, he's only 8 lap old sauce, but you've got to remember, a lot of those laps are on the safety car, so he has still got some grip in these. It wasn't the best restart lap, but as he comes past Nick now, I mean, there's still scope for him to make some positions here. Michael Okeke, excitingly, is up to 9th place, but he does have Casper right behind him. But look at all this in front of him. It's very tricky to judge all this. And another move going deep into turn 12. This time, it was from Kieran, but he made it stick. He's into 3rd place. He'll get himself down the road. Quinn is dealing with Okeke. Yellow flags from Mike Kelterborn. He's only lost a small bit of the front line, but there is a car coming through. Be careful not to hit anyone when you recover back to the track. And I think he'll get away with it, and we won't need to go safety car again. Jake O'Sullivan. I don't think he's surely got to look to pits soon, hasn't he? He's going to stay going. Okay. We'll keep an eye on this. Gareth is going to pit. Kieran is going to pit. And Michel is going to pit. Leroy, Ben Harrett, Nick Egan. Quinn's going to start and move out to 2nd place. Michael Okeke has just been overtaken by Casper, who's up into 3rd place, also known as the net leader of the race. Okeke running net 2nd. That is real positions. Pete Knighton running net 3rd despite the damage on his front wing end plate. No safety cars from neither the end, and those three will be within a real shot of a podium finish. But look at this. Quinn is slowing Casper down so much. Jake's almost 9-10 seconds ahead of him already. It's only been 2 or 3 laps of this restart. So this is a vital moment in this race for everyone in this train to get through on Quinn. He is a sitting duck. And they all need to pass him. All of them. So, here goes 2 already. That was nice and easy. Does OKK fancy a wee send on Casper? Is he feeling brave? No, not quite. Jamie Griffiths doesn't get through, and that's going to hold up Pete Knighton. The front wing damage isn't going to help either, but he's just going to have to sit and be patient. Arnold is 5.5 seconds behind Pete Knighton, so add a couple of seconds onto that, and that's the gap between him and the lead, about 7 seconds, really. Casper will break the DRS of OKK. He may actually have already done it, and he has. So OKK, that's pretty much going to be waving goodbye to the race leader, unless of course he makes any sort of mistakes later on, which of course he did do under the last, 2 safety cars ago now. As Pete down the inside of Jamie Griffiths gets himself up into the top 5, and Quinn goes into the pit lane. And looks to me like Jamie does fancy actually fighting back here on Pete, and Pete will just be thrilled to see this. Down the inside, late on the brakes. He's done it. Nicely done there for Jamie Griffiths. Like I say, I won't please Pete in the slightest, and it's just going to hold him up more and more. Fastest lap for Jordan, and he's sort of in that pack with the guys who were running in the top 5 earlier on. Let's say he's got strong pace here tonight. We'll have to wait until all the pit stops are done to get a real read on what the real order is. You'll notice that Risky's drive-through penalty has been taken as well.
Yeah, Jake's gap has come down by nearly 2 seconds, by the way, to Casper. Are those mediums starting to go? They are 14 laps old. Jordan gets himself a penalty. But yeah, the gap decreasing, it should be noted.
Yeah, it'll have difference. It'll have difference in the tyres. I suppose it's going to happen, but I mean, staying out. It's hard to tell really whether it's been a benefit or not. I mean, I suppose this is staying out to go on some softs, isn't it? For the end for Jake O'Sullivan, and that will make him very quick. But it's all about whether they can catch Casper up.
In the final corner.
Oh dear. Stays out though.
Out.
I did cut off it as it was happening. You can, so you might see the gap correct itself. There you go. He's lost nearly a second doing that.
Yeah.
And Pete, he fancied it on OKK then, who's running just a bit too slowly here. He burnt all his ERS up trying to keep up with Casper. But now into turn 1, Pete's forcing it down the inside.
That's a move.
And he's up into 3rd place. It's an important move, that, because Arnold's on the scene now. He's going to get DRS on this lap, I would have thought. If he's really quick for the S's here, he'll be able to get DRS on the next straight. But if he doesn't get it then, he'll definitely get it on the back straight to end the lap. But Arnold, he's here. He's ready to cause a little bit of mischief, I would have thought. And I say that because it wouldn't be totally past him to cause an accident, but hopefully not. He's saved his ERS up as well, so he's very much preparing himself for all-out assault here. He's also made a good gap on Ben Shaw and Risky, so they're all doing good to make their races come together. And OKK fighting hard to keep his race alive against Pete. Let's say they've got to fight this because at the minute it is indeed for a podium. But look at this, as they're fighting there for P8 on track. Kieran, Gareth, Risky and Jordan are all sort of going at it, and Jordan trying to pressurise Risky. He has a penalty now, just Jordan. We saw that pop up just a moment ago. 3-second penalty for him. Same, I think, for Ben Harrod. So we'll keep an eye on those because there's not as many penalties as last week. Last week was just mental with the penalties, but it's a lot more reserved this time. Here comes Jake into the pits. But more importantly, here's some more overtakes. Here's Pete Knighton coming through on OKK. Here comes Arnold through on OKK. And frankly, if these guys have any sense, they're just going to let Arnold go. Don't lose time where you don't need to. And down the inside goes Jamie Griffiths, and that's a lot of wheel binding going on there. But that's a bit rude there from OKK, just to force his rival out of the way. Brilliant.
That's a receipt for Silverstone Season 6, isn't it?
A podium on the line today as it was then. He's got to fight hard, hasn't he? But he's losing the back end a lot. And Jake, he's come out, I don't know, he's come out a decent gap away, but obviously on those softs he will catch up. I'm almost certain of it. But here comes Arnold on Pete Knighton, and from here it'll be really fascinating. 4-lap difference in the tyres. Can Arnold catch up to his teammate and fighting for the win? I tell you what, we really could do with another safety car now just to close this all right up.
You were thinking what I was thinking. I'll tell you what, the only person to go back-to-back this season in race wins is Jake O'Sullivan. So Arnold looking to do exactly that. A win in the round of 10 and the round of 8. He also, you may remember, was one of only 2 people to win in all 3 rounds, the round of 6 as well. Jamie Wright was the other man. Season 2 and Season 4, they both did that respectively.
Looking at the midfield fighting, Risky, I think, has had an illegal overtake on Ben Harrett. Or maybe they're really playing some DRS games. I'd be surprised, though. Weird place to slow down, so I think, yeah, Risky was getting caught out there. Elsewhere, Jordan's still fighting with Michelle. Michelle has a damaged car, so that is making it a little bit more difficult. And you can see the wheel banding going on there as Jamie finally gets his pit stop done. I think that now completes everyone's pit strategies. And the side-by-side fighting continues as Jordan and Michelle, they're really sending it. And there's more contact and nearly spinning round there is Michelle Goris. And I think there might be the end of that fight. And look at that from Risky. Massive snap of oversteer. And he's now got Ben Harrett side by side. And that was perilously close to contact too. But Ben Harrett, he'll slide through. Nick's retired in the pits, I think. And that might be a penalty. Well, it will be. But, well, what is actually the penalty for that? It's quite severe, really, isn't it? We tend to ban people for that, no? We banned Quinn for that earlier in the season.
Is it a free race ban or a playoff point penalty? I can never remember. That's the question for Ben Shaw post-race.
Yeah, well, I think we were quite rude to Quinn over it.
Big moment for MK Bourne. I know he's down in last. I just, for some reason, was on board with him. He almost lost it through the S's there. He's recovered.
Ben Harrett's really holding Leroy Hasselager up here, and he was trying to get himself through into turn 11, but no way through. But yeah, I think, sure, for Portugal, Quinn was in the commentary box. Oh, so were me and Gar, but Quinn was the co-commentator overnight because he'd been banned for what happened in Imola, where he, well, actually, he deliberately crashed, didn't he? That was what it was. Okay, maybe not the same thing then, but it was still a pit lane related incident. As well, look at that. Ben Harrett's been done on both sides there. And he's going to get back free on the 2 of them. Unbelievable. This is some good fighting here for P11. Actually, he's only going to get one of them back, but it was Risky on one side, Leroy on the other side, and they both sort of just parted through. And very aggressive stuff. And look at the dummying going on there. And they've all kept it on the circuit. And they've all somehow stayed in the same order they were when they came into there. That was very exciting racing from them lot. But it's... yeah, my goodness, that was asking for an accident. I don't know how they've all got through there. Back with Pete Knighton, because he is sticking with the DRS of Arnold here. Which surprises me. That's why. Arnold's got front wing damage. OKK's got to move up the inside of Pete Knighton. Doesn't quite make it stick. Casper's now picked up a penalty, which is surprising when you've got a lead of that length. I would have thought you'd just be keeping it calm, but we'll keep an eye if he gets any more. NK Bourne had another moment that caused the yellow flag, but no damage to the car. Ben Harrett's fighting with Risky. Surprise, surprise. And they're staying side by side. Surprise, surprise. But Risky gets through for now. I'm tempted to say briefly, but here comes OKK on the back of Pete Knighton. Remember, he is the only undamaged car in his free car train. Oh my goodness, they're locking at the brakes very aggressively and losing the rear end on the way through. And that's going to let Jake O'Sullivan, who surely has by far the biggest advantage here. And I tell you what, with 5 laps to go, including this one, he's very much in with a shot at this win. If the grip stays in these tyres, if he can get through these guys quickly, Jacko, he doesn't have to pass Casper anymore. He can just catch up and get within 3 seconds. Those softs might let that happen. They might not. We'll wait and see. Oh, it's free wide again in towards turn 1. And it's once again Ben Harrett and Risky going for it. Quinn this time was the man making it free wide. But, oh my goodness. Huge moment there for Ben Harrett, who falls to the back of that train.
In the championship with that as well. What a save.
I tell you what though, 14th place, as exciting as he's been, this is a disaster really if he finishes where he is at the moment. As Jake O'Sullivan comes through and, sadly it has to be said, takes the podium away from Pete Knighton and Michael Okeke. Perhaps things might change. Like I said, if we get a late safety car, that penalty for Casper is really going to cause issues. The field spread's starting to get a bit more now though, so any accidents would be solo really, wouldn't they? As Jamie Griffiths comes through on Ben Harrett, he thought about diving back up the inside, but I think he's had it really, hasn't he? I think he's been struggling, hasn't he? And that's Jamie on new softs, who was obviously fighting Pete Knighton very hard earlier on, and that's just ignoring track limits completely. So he is trying, but I think the grip's just slightly fallen away, unfortunately. Jake's next target then is going to be Arnold, and he's almost into DRS. He will pick it up later on this lap. Not quite now. I know he's within a second, but he wasn't there, obviously, when they got through the detection point itself. Ben Shaw now has also arrived on the scene. So we do have a lovely 5-car train, really, for second place on the road.
I mean, we could still do with a late safety car, couldn't we? Just like season 6.
I know, as I say, we got a last lap shootout then, didn't we? We also did get a late safety car this time last week as well, around this time in Canada, so it can happen.
Oh, yes. If Ben Shaw makes the... Well, he will. If he makes the top 10 tonight, that'll be 99 top 10s in the Cup Series alone. So one more.
Look at OKK.
100, and no other driver has done that. OKK to the right and through on the outside of P9. Will he come back? Yes, he will. OKK is going to be pushed out wide, and Ben
contact.
Oh! As they come together, and around goes Ben
That's
Shaw.
a disaster.
P4, yellow flags, safety
car.
car.
They've been hit again. Oh, this could be really big problems now. How are they all coming through? And look at OKK reversing back on, but it's cost them so much time. Oh, what a disaster. What a disaster for them.
Is P5, Owen. Gareth P5.
I was worried Gareth might have been the one that hit, frankly, but they've all got through side by side for second place, by the way. And Jake O'Sullivan, he gets through on the damaged Arnold, but Arnold's got a great run for the final corner. He'll have DRS as well. Does he fancy sticking a nose at the inside into turn 1? You'd be mad not to expect it. Come on, let's have a bit of racing for second place. He thinks about it, but he backs off Arnold. And that's going to let Jake get down the road, I think, because he's just got so much more grip on those soft compound tires. He's only got 3 laps to go, though. Can he really make 4.5 seconds up? I highly doubt it. The fighting is still continuing on the main straight. They're leaving no margin here today. And Michel Goris gets through on Michael OKK, and I say, disastrous that they were just fighting that little bit too hard, Michael and Pete. I don't think they either really did much wrong. It's just what happens when you race that hard for so long. As Mike Kelterborn goes off again, he's lost a lot of the front wing, but not all of it. He's also battered into the wall, coming back on, but he's not done enough damage. That is probably the last chance for a safety car, for being completely honest. And he's tried.
OKK and Pete, they're 2 legends of the game. Just wanting the same bit of track. It doesn't work. It doesn't work in F1. It doesn't work in JACKOCAR. It doesn't work in NASCAR either, unfortunately, and they both suffer the consequences.
Oh, Mike.
4 yellow flags fly for Mike Kelterborn.
He has lost the whole front wing now, but I do think we're just too late into the race now. He also has lost it in separate moments. Oh, my goodness. That's a harder hit, but it hasn't knocked his wheel off. What has he done to this car? Is that he's overheated the whole thing up, just jacked it up? But yeah, Casper might be a bit wary coming up to him, because that's an accident waiting to happen. As Arnold now picks up a penalty, and it's a shame that, because I'm just watching Jake O'Sullivan having a horrible exit at turns 2 and 3, and I'm sure Arnold will be feeling just as frustrated. But it means he can fight him now and not really worry about it. Just go for it. And OKK, spinning into the pit lane. Ben Harrett's followed him in, and that is it's the end, sadly, we expect, isn't it, sometimes? But it's a particularly hard one to take for OKK today. There's definitely a top 5 was on there. But here comes Arnold. He's going to make life difficult for Jake O'Sullivan now, although Jake, I'm sure he'll happily just let Arnold go and just not worry about it. Gareth has still got Catboy behind him, but he's also got Jordan. Jordan has a penalty, so he can fight a little bit harder if he wants to. Yellow flags, that is where the leader is. He's got through on Mike Kelterborn, so no damage done. There was the threat of that, wasn't there? But they've got away with it. And Gareth, he's holding on to P5. But let's say, I'm sure Kieran might let him have it, to be fair. It is highly useful here for him.
You'll never guess what.
There's a yellow flag again.
This joke still remains. It's 1 lap to go in Miami. Over to you to bring Casper home for what will be his 12th win.
Yeah, Mike Kelterborn's trying let's just reverse at this point. It's the Vettel at Singapore. It's just a disastrous end to his race. Big lock up into turn 1 for Arnold, but it doesn't really matter. Unless Jake picks up some sort of penalty on this lap, he's going to finish in second place, and I think he'll be happy enough with that. Gareth, I think, is the main one to watch here, because he really would love to hold on to that P5, because with Ben Harrod, basically, he's 13th, but he's not going to get anything out of this. Nick Egan out of the race, Corey Dalton out of the race, Kieran behind him. This is a
Ben
big
Harrod
result.
way down as well.
It's the exactly 13th place. So it's the result he needed. Mike now picking up penalties on top of all his other issues. So it's just not really ideal. Michael Okeke still fighting away, but here comes Jake. Again, like I say, I think he'll just there's no point giving it too much welly here, because he's not going to win the race from here unless there's an accident for Casper, and he can't control whether that happens or not. So yeah, the top three will just stay where they are. Kieran fighting away with Jordan Lane, who goes a little bit wide at 11, through into 12. He'll hold the position. That does give him a chance, or does it? He has a slide, and that's going to let Kieran back through. I'd say for Gareth, that is P5 pretty much in the bag. Jake will now pass, and he's given a lot of room as well to Arnold. But at the front, we worried about him, didn't we? He hit the wall during the safety car, but he's recovered brilliantly. Casper crosses the line to win in Miami. He's through to the round of 6. Jake O'Sullivan will come through and take second place, with Arnold coming through in third. It's another good day in the chase for Ben Shaw, way ahead of Risky and of Pete, his two closest rivals, who are down in 12th and 14th respectively. Gareth Hall finishes P5, big result for him in his championship. Kieran 6th and Jordan 7th. Leroy in 8th, Michelle 9th. A good return to form for him, it has to be said. He's had a good day today, and there's a bit more action happening behind. Quinn finishes 10th, Pete 11th, Jamie Griffiths in 12th. Ben Harrett will eventually come through in 13th, with Risky 14th, still fighting away with Michael Okeke, who unbelievably is going to end up finishing near the back again. He's got through into 14th though. I don't know what penalties might do about that. He'll fall behind. He had his 10-second penalty. Baza will be 16th, and then Mike Kettlebourne. You saw him crashing across the line. Sadly, another poor race for him. But it's Casper who held his nerve, because let's say he looked like he was on a compromised strategy. He hit the wall all by himself under the safety car, but he recovered it and he won the race.
Yep, another JACKOCAR classic, I dare say. The opening laps were fantastic.
I know, I'm looking forward to watching them back.
At the end, wasn't it? Absolutely, that's a really good one. I think there'll be a handful of unhappy drivers. Pete Knighton, as you can see, first one to leave the session. He, along with Michael Okeke, Ben Harrett, they will not be in a good mood after this. The big winners, Ben Shaw, Gareth Hall, certainly Casper Klein out of nowhere. The alternate strategy on this occasion pays off for him. It's his 12th win in the Cup Series. It draws him level with Kieran Spears, and they are just 7 race wins away from the Jamie Wright record. How many races do we have left?
5 races left.
So maybe someone's going to pay me a lot of money to do one more season. But 5 races, if you are going based off of that, there's only Jake O'Sullivan and Arnold de Grief who can even come close to Jamie Wright's all-time wins record. But a big day and a good day in JACKOCAR as we head into the playoff break again, because someone's gone on holiday. Race winner, Casper Klein, then it's Jake O'Sullivan, Arnold de Grief, Ben Shaw, Gareth Hall with that massive result in P5. And then it's Catboy, Jordan, Leroy, Michel, who was in the middle of everything. He seemed to be good top 10 for Quint. It went unnoticed. Pete Knighton managed to come home 11th. Jamie Griffiths, Ben Harrett, Sullivan Lewis, Michael Okeke, Baza, and MK Bourne complete the 17 finish with the 3 retirements.
And that is, like you say, the end of this portion of the season. Like I say, we'll have that break. I think Ben Harrett's probably the man who'll need it the most. Hopefully we'll see a better performance from him next time out. Pete has gone straight into our Twitter chat to blame Michael Okeke for the incident. He's clapped back. So they're starting to have a little bit of an argument. So it's a shame to see that happen. It is a shame to see them both lose the big results, because they were both looking very good for a while there. But yes, that is where we're going to leave that then for tonight. We've got a driver qualified. To be fair, actually, with the way the points are, we could have more qualified. But we know definitely that one's qualified, and that is, of course, our winner at Casper. So yes, it'll be the continuation of the North American US specific leg, because obviously we were in North America last week, of course, as well. Which one is it? It's COTA, isn't it? And then Vegas. So yeah, I'm looking forward to both. COTA was where we saw a lot of carnage for ERT in particular last season, and Vegas just causes carnage due to the nature of its design, especially on this game. So definitely do tune in for those. And again, that will be after our short break. So from then, I'm not going on holiday, but I don't know, I'll just chill out. I'll not play the F1 game for 2 weeks, that's what I'll do. So thank you, thank you, Jacko. But thank you, viewers, as well for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I'm now going to go back and watch the first 10 laps back, because that was very exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing how exciting it was. Even though I was here at the time, I want to reminisce already. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you in 2 weeks for COTA. Safe travels.